Hello everyone, this is HCJ Halloween, and today is the big day that we all have been waiting for. Well, not for me really, actually, because this video is being pre-recorded on the day before, just because I know how hectic it can get on Halloween, and I really came down to the wire with the video last year and didn't have much time at all. So this year I wanted to make sure I had optimal time to go ahead and give you guys a real thorough tour, because this year is definitely our best year yet. So starting off here, we have the zombie swing girl. We've had her for many, many years. Spirit still hasn't really come out with a swinging prop like her that I think would be fit to replace her. So we are still using the zombie swing girl. She's a big favorite anyways, so I'm always glad to have her back. And she also is one of the ones that people find to be the most terrifying, which I always think is interesting. But I will say she really is creepy when it gets dark and it has the black light on her. And she's just really lifelike the way that she swings and turns her head like that. So always a big favorite, the zombie swing girl. Then along here we have all of our tombstones, which will have a purple light on them during the night. And you can see we also have the addition of the skeletons that I got this year. One of them is right there, it's full, and then the other one we broke into pieces and spread out around this area. So coming around this way, we have our haunted mansion display, which I have all hooked up today, and it looks really, really awesome, guys. And some of you may have already seen the build video of it, so you got a little bit of a sneak peek, but I am just so happy with how it turned out. Of course, you can see the lighting in here a little bit better in the nighttime tour or in the edit, which should hopefully have been released already yesterday. And we have all of this good stuff going on here, guys. So let me show you everything that we have in here. Of course, we have Menacing Molly. We have the, I apologize for the dog in the background. We have the Rocking Horse Dolly, and we also have Levitator Girl with the same bed that we used as last year. And these ones I have on step pad. I have remotes for some of the guys up there, but I've got step pads for these ones right here, just so that people can kind of like, I'll have them up like this too, just so that people can interact with it. So here we have Menacing Molly sitting down actually on a seat, on a stool, instead of on a swing, and in front of a mirror here, so you can really kind of see her face before you even see her actually bend backwards, which I think is a really cool effect. At some point before tomorrow, since this video is being pre-recorded, I do want to get a bloody handprint going down this mirror here. I think that it would look really awesome. I'll just use red paint on my hand and just run my hand down this mirror. I think it would add for a good effect as well, so I will hopefully have that done for Halloween Day. And I will go ahead and show you guys Menacing Molly here. Also, I do have the two dolls there, the new one and the one from last year, the Gothtober one, and then also these candles here, which I'll have them turned on for the nighttime tour in the end. So here is Menacing Molly.
I see dead people, I see ghosts, I see the things that hate you the most.
I think she looks great like this on a seat. I think that it looks really good, might even look better than the swing. It might not make that much sense why she's rocking her head back and forth, but even on the swing that looks kind of strange anyways, so I think that she looks absolutely perfect out here like this. I'll do her one more time for you guys.
Sometimes the other kids look right through me, like I'm not even there. But you know what? Disappear too.
And this, like I said in the build video, is a new Menacing Molly, just because I wanted to make sure that I could use her on adapter, since my old Menacing Molly unfortunately only worked on batteries, which was fine last year, but this year I really don't want to have to deal with that, having it out here. I needed to plug in. And then also, I knew I was going to cut these hands up, so I kind of didn't want to have only one that has its hands kind of all messed up like that. So I figured it would be nice to have one that's really connected to the swing and one that isn't, this one. And then also I know there was a couple different feature upgrades on her. She kind of has an easier setup situation. There's different Velcro strips. The light doesn't go all through her head, it just goes through the eyes. So, I mean, none of that was really the main important part. I just needed it to be able to be plugged in. And then also, it works really nice because it is brand new. So, I think she looks really awesome right there. Super happy with how it turned out. I have the dresser there as well that I made in a pretty old build video a while back. So that is that. And then, we also have our Rocking Horse Dolly here going on continuous, as you had probably noticed. the audio might have been a little bit annoying, but I think that she looks really cool like this. And she fits just perfectly. I was worried she was going to be hitting her head, which she does sometimes, but if she really gets going. But at this pace right here, it looks just fine. And she fits right in between the bed and Menacing Molly perfectly. And of course you can see Menacing Molly's face there. I just think it looks so awesome like this. Alright. And also the wallpaper paint looks really, really awesome. Now here is our levitator girl. She has her black light on her, which looks really, really awesome. It should look really, really awesome in the dark. So I'll get her going for you. She was the perfect animatronic for this kind of a display. She does her little vibration at the top there. Gotta love Levitator. She's an awesome prop. Really glad I was able to reuse her this year, as well as Menacing Molly, because those are two real big favorites of mine of all time. So that is the Haunted Mansion display, guys. I'm really glad I got to show it to you. Finished product that's finally done, and I just think that it looks so awesome. I think I may even like it better than the cabin, and probably better than the bedroom as well from 2016. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but I had a similar kind of theme for the bedroom with Floating Ghost Girl and Peekaboo Penny, but I think that this theme right here actually incorporated it, incorporated the possession kind of thing, doll aspect even better than that theme, and I think it turned out really, really good. So that is the mansion, and I will go ahead and move along to the walkway. So as you can see, we have all of our pumpkins here. Hopefully those will be carved by Halloween, but right now they aren't. They're just up along the walkway. So that is how they look right now. If they're not carved by Halloween, it's whatever, actually, because I think that they actually look really good like this anyways, but just to provide a little bit more light, I think they would look nice if they had candles in them and they had little faces on them or whatever we want to do. We could do some designs. That's always been my favorite part of Halloween, is the pumpkin, so hopefully we can get to that at some point. So here is our sitting scare witch. I do have the light on her, and you can see it pretty well, actually, even though it's a bit daytime still. So I have a remote for these ones. As you can see, Sitting Scare Witch, that's Looming Strawman, and Forest Demon. I won't be using this remote because I'm going to be inside the haunted house, but somebody who's out here will be. So here is the Sitting Scare Witch. And yes, she does work without the bowl. So she doesn't have a bowl, but she still looks really awesome, and she still works. So I'm really glad about that, because I wasn't going to be using her in a place where the bowl really made sense. So I wanted her to just be able to sit like this, like she is right now, with her hands at her sides, and then I can stuff that wire in there so you don't see that little sticker that's on it. I'll go one more time without talking. Definitely going to freak some people out. She's going to be really, really awesome. And here is our Looming Strawman. So glad I decided to get this guy kind of last minute. As you guys know, it was a last minute decision. Not really last second. It wasn't like, you know, the last couple of days, but it was the last couple of weeks or last week before Halloween that I decided to pick this guy up, and I am so glad that I did, because I think he fits absolutely perfectly here, and I wasn't sure what I was going to have here for the longest, so finally decided to get Looming Strawman, and I will go ahead and show you guys what he looks like. Got him on the remote as well.
You think you could sneak through my neck of the woods without dealing with me? Gotcha!
He's going a bit slow right now.
Run fast when you have to.
I know he does better than that. Let me step around here and get a better shot of him, but it's also because in the cold some of these props seem to slow down. I had issues with hugs, but let me see if he can get going a little bit.
Things are getting dead.
And this is our cornfield display that I've refurbished, got the new corn stalks in.
I'm the
He's not doing too well right now, but maybe if he warms up a little bit, I'll bring him inside because he's been out here for a while. Try one more time.
I've turned this harvest into a rotten heap. Maybe I can make the same of you.
So hopefully I can get him working a little bit faster, but I think he still looks pretty cool as is right now. And here is our pumpkin patch prowler. I know I had some stuff kind of blocking all of this right here because he has a lot of white showing right there. I know I had some of the creepy cloth over, but it's been really windy today, so it probably blew away a little bit. But I will have him on continuous, as you could probably tell, because he's been, his audio you could probably hear for a little while, but he will be going on continuous right here because I think he looks really, really cool. And you can kind of see the light coming through pretty well now. It's getting sort of dusk right now. And I think he looks really, really awesome right there. I didn't think there was a need to have him on the remote or step pad or anything because one activation of him is just kind of, you know, not really, it's the same thing as every other activation. It's just because it does kind of a looping sort of thing. So it's not like it's going to have some sort of jump scare or reason for him to be on a remote. So I thought that he looked better just looping, just like our rocking horse dolly is. So that is how I'm going to have him. And he'll look really, really creepy, like from down on the sidewalk and stuff. You'll see him up here moving around. His head, obviously, looks so awesome. That pumpkin head definitely adds to our pumpkin cornfield kind of theme going on right here. So that is him. We also have just kind of like some hay bales, pumpkins, gourds, a couple pumpkins back in there, corn, gourds, all that good stuff. And the hay bale for the sitting scare witch. So this display looks really awesome. And now up here we have our two gargoyles, which won't be on just because one of them is broken and the other one I think is working. At some point it seemed like it was kind of broke, but I don't really just want one going anyways. And I don't want to have the fog on them or anything because I don't have enough plugs to do all of that wiring and get those fog machines on there. So those will just be sitting there as is, but I think that they look really good anyways, just as a little detail there. And then I have the forest demon right here. Now, and he'll have this red light on him, which you can see a little bit if I step out of the way, the red light. That's one thing I didn't really think of. People will probably kind of get in the way of that red light when they're coming to get the candy, but that's all good. The candy will be right down there at the base of him, but I still need to get like one more wire, one more like 3 connector that has 3 plugs that I can use to kind of get everything situated. Right now I have a ratchet way of plugging him in. He's not plugged into any of the other outlets. So right now I will go ahead and get him plugged in for you guys. It'll turn off this stuff, but that's okay for the time being. And then show you what he looks like. All right, here is our forest demon. I have him on the same remote as well. So I will go ahead and give you guys a little demo of him up on our porch. So here we go.
I came here for the souls of children, but I'll gladly take yours too.
And those gargoyles just look perfect there because they've got the wings and everything. So like mini versions of him almost. So that is that for the outdoor display. I guess I'll do the forest demon one more time to show you guys, but he's gonna scare the pants off some of these kids getting their candy up here. I can't even imagine. Here we go. He really towers over there.
Almost killed me once.
So that is the outdoor display, guys, for the lights on / or the daytime tour of the outside portion. Now I will go ahead and show you the inside, the haunted house with the lights on. So that is what I'm going to cut to next. Alright guys, so here is the lights on tour of the haunted house. It is nighttime right now though, so you can see this haunted house sign on the front, which looks really awesome. So I'm glad you guys could see that in this video since it is dark outside. And now we will go ahead and head in. Now, it's likely that on Halloween day, because right now, like I said, this video is pre-recorded, we'll have some black tarp right here covering this up, as well as for the exit. But for right now, this is how it is. So let's go ahead inside. So here we have the twitching banshee just kind of as an entrance thing, not really a focal point anymore like it was last year. So I don't really want its volume on because it's kind of loud and a little bit annoying, so I didn't want that to be on, going on all night. So it's most likely that on Halloween day I will have it like it is here, where it is just kind of going around like this, looking creepy, but not actually having the volume on. So that is that, and it also just kind of fits in with like at least the color scheme of this hallway here because it is white. So I just thought it would be a good thing to have here, kind of blocking that electrical stuff there. But I will unplug her right now. Maybe I'll have her volume on low so you can kind of, you know, hear it a little bit, kind of creepy. But here, let me get it when it goes around. All right, there we go. So here is the spiderweb hallway that you guys have heard so much about on Instagram and in the build video and everything, but here it is with the lights and everything. So one thing that I do have here that I'll go ahead and show you is all of these dropping spiders. We have 5 of them in here, so if I go ahead and slap my leg, they should drop down. So let's see. Yep. So you can see we have one here, we have one here, and we also have 2 back here. This one is a little bit iffy because it gets caught on the spider web, but I'll let that one just go up like that for right now. So as you can see, we have the cocooned corpse right here who's on IR sensor. So there's the ears. And with the blue light, it looks amazing, I think. So they always drop when cocoon corpse goes off. It like makes a sound that always sets them off for some reason. So let me get past him. Oh, okay. Hopefully he doesn't make any more drop again. But here are our dropping spiders, and this one. I'll make sure it doesn't mess up our tunnel here. And these are our tunnels. As you can see, we have the 2 different spiderweb tunnels with the fencing holding them up, and then also the connected spot right here. And we also have just a lot of little spider webbing designs like this along the wall that make it look like it's connected there. Oh, that one just kept going. All right, I'll turn them off. There we go. But those are definitely a super cool addition. I'll also turn this one off because I don't want it going again. So get that one off. Okay, so that is all of that. But then we also have our jumping spider on the wall right here. I'm too short to reach its switch. I need a ladder to get it on. So I will go ahead and do that right now, and then I will show them to you guys. All right, here is our jumping spider. I'm gonna climb up real quick to get him off before he goes again. All right, right there. So as you guys can see, he jumps out pretty far. Hopefully he won't knock anyone out, but I think he's gonna be a super awesome jump scare. And what I'll probably do is get like a step pad here or something that I can come around and activate before people actually like reach this spot. If I have him on sound, that might be a little dangerous because people that are tall right underneath of him could get hit by it. But as you can see, I had to help it up a little bit there. That's just because as it is right now, it gets stuck, like it goes too far to a point where the gears aren't really catching, but it is able to go up on its own and it's able to fight gravity, so that's good. All that I have left to do though is like tie something on its legs and stick it to the wall so that it only comes out to, and only extends to a point where it can still retract on its own, because I don't want to have to be pushing it up all night. So I cannot wait to see him jump scare some people on Halloween night. But now moving along to our second hallway, which is introduced by the ticket booth, which still has yet to be put just up on some cardboard at the bottom here so that it's standing up a little bit taller. You will be greeted by this ticket booth, which will have a person behind it, a live actor, who's gonna pop out of the window right here, which will just have some like black trash bag there cut with slits so that they can pop out and you won't see them behind it, and that will be super awesome. We have a freaky clown mask for that person to wear. There's another spider right here for an added jump scare when that person jumps out. So that will be a awesome jump scare as well. So 2 pretty terrifying jump scares right at the beginning here. So this hallway might get a bit beat up, but that is okay. I'm still really excited to see people's reactions. And then we also have, as you enter this hallway here, some, what are these called? Streamers. That's what these are, is the red and white flags that we have as you enter here, and they also go all along the hallway, which I think was a super cool addition to the hallway. I'm glad I did that. And now, as you probably can notice, this is still plywood right here. I didn't get a chance to put the stone backdrop on it yet, and I may do that, but I think what's most likely going to happen is my dad is just going to go ahead and cut like a slit with the black tarp, because that black tarp actually goes all the way down to the ground, and then have that piece come over this, so it's all just black right here as a little black backdrop. And I think that's totally fine. It's probably easier than me actually having to get out the backdrops again and work around the clown and do all of that. So I think that that's what's going to end up happening, is that this is all just going to be covered in the black. But even as of now, with the lights off and everything, it really hasn't been that big of a problem. We've already had a lot of people like come through here and see it, and you really don't even notice. Like, this wall doesn't stand out as a sore thumb or anything like that. So it's fine as is, to be honest. Then, or I guess I have to show you Towering Clown we have with a black light on him. It looks kind of blue in the camera, but here is him, if I can get my remote. I have 4 props in here on this remote, so here is Towering Clown.
I'm looking for someone to play hide and seek with. You go hide and I'll come find you. Start running!
So he towers over you, super creepy. Most of the time, you'll be able to just kind of walk right through here, but some people can also walk under his hands. If you're close to him, you can still walk under his hands, because they're at a height that most people can walk under his hands. But it shouldn't be too much an issue. I was a little worried that they were too low to the ground, but I'm kind of realizing that 9 times out of 10, people are going to walk through this way and not even really go under his hands. So that is the Towering Clown. Looks super creepy in the corner here. Here we also have the Clown Go Round, which I didn't have any videos of on the channel just because I didn't really get time to make them. But I will go ahead and show you him. He has a pretty long activation, but I will show all of it. They've been modified to be a little bit more condensed. As you can see, the stuff going on here, it's not normally like that, but they're a lot closer together so they can fit, which is nice. So they are really, really awesome. There's not actually a light that's on them in particularly, but you can still see them. They're a little bit in the dark, but they're really creepy like that. And they're just an awesome addition to this hallway. We also have our clown doll down there, accompanied by his father guy, his brother, the roaming creepy clown that is basically the roaming version, or that came after him. That's the doll version of this roaming. And his LEDs were never working, so I actually have it like that, where I just kind of like a while back when I got this guy, I think it was like last Christmas, I put in a little light underneath of his head, which is actually good because I don't want him roaming around. So now I can just have that yellow on constantly for the whole night, and I don't have to have it roam around for the yellow to come on. We also have this clown head that we've had for a while, but it finally has been put to really good use because we actually have a clown hallway, this is the first time we've ever actually done an entire clown display. So here on this wall we have the Ferris wheel. That was once a 3-dimensional object, for those of you that have seen that build video. But that build video is pretty much useless at this point because we never ended up using the Ferris wheel as it was intended to be. It couldn't really fit in here, so I cut the back part off of it and just put it on the wall because it is a really awesome decoration and makes the wall look a little bit more detailed than it did before. So it adds some awesome character to this wall and to the hallway, and it's in the perfect spot, I think. And it also has a black light on it, so the white kind of lights up really cool. You got the spiral, and we also have some circles here that glow well under the black light. So over here in this corner is our Hugs the Clown with his booth around him. Now we've had some issues with Hugs the Clown with him not lunging out or not retracting. And what I've actually found is that the actual problem with it is not that the mechanism is broken or anything crazy like that we can't fix, but it's just that it's too cold in here. So I've had to been bringing his main piece inside and his head inside every night so that it stays warm. So that's just a heads up for those of you that have Hugs the Clown. If you're having issues with him, it might already be a little bit too late since I'm releasing this on Halloween, but if you ever have an issue with him, see if just bringing it inside and then trying it again works, because it seems like this prop doesn't work too well when it's not in a controlled climate. So that's just a side note, but he is working right now, so I will go ahead and show you guys him. His face does not look near as cool on camera as it does in person under this black light. It's making it look a lot darker, but in reality it's a lot lighter, and you can see all the white and everything, so it does look really cool in person. But I'll go ahead and show you him. Here we go.
Step right up, yes. You'll do nice, very tasty, healthy. Cut it! Wow, you're a fast one.
So you can see he is going kind of slow. We've had him out here all day because we were showing some people him earlier, so he might be getting a little bit cold, but let me show you him from this angle.
You there! Do you want to play a game? If I catch you, then I get to eat you. Gotcha! Oh, I missed. Ah, well, I'll just have to catch
would you look at that?
one then.
He ended up not retracting back, so that means it is time to go in for Hugs the Clown. So that's actually an example of the issue right there, but no problem. I got an activation already for you guys, so I'll see if I can get it to retract, and then I will bring it back inside so we can get it to be working for Halloween night. See, that is the issue right there. That is what keeps happening. So anyways, here is the third hallway, and this looks a lot cooler with the lights off. This is probably the most drastic change with the lights off, because you just have all this candle light right here, super creepy. But also we have in the corner here Lost Her Way, who we might have roaming around, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, she is in the corner right here, which she just kind of fits perfectly to just cover up some of that corner space. Looks cool, and she has a candle, so it's very appropriate. And here is Possessed Wall Hanger, with who I was so terrified that she was broken earlier. And what I realized after like bringing her back outside, because I brought her inside thinking it might have been the cold issue again, but then I'm like, oh, this is plastic, it's techie toys, that's not an issue I think it would have. So what I realized that the actual issue was with the remote control thing. The batteries were dead, and for some reason there was like a really like crappy, like one of those batteries that you get when you just buy something that already comes in it, that's included. One of those was in there. So I don't know how that got in there, because I don't like use any of those kinds of batteries, but that was probably the reason, because that battery was dead. So I got that fixed up, and now she is working, which I'm so glad about, because she is such a staple, such a focus of this haunted house, and she's probably the most terrifying part. So here is the Possessed Wall Hanger. Oh, she's moving. She was moving a little bit there. I don't know if you saw that, because I just got her hung back up, so I hadn't activated her with her new position there. And I used to have her hook taped up there, so that's what I need to redo now that I have her working again. But she is very, very creepy. And in the dark, this flashing light is even more terrifying. As you can see, I covered up a lot of that because some of these spotlights are way too bright. But that is the Possessed Wall Hanger, and that is hallway 3. Now moving along to the final hallway, hallway number 4, which is our mix of like gore and toxic situation. It's not really 100% one or the other, but it definitely really came together. I think this hallway looks better than last year. I know Death Row is a big favorite, but I personally wasn't like super impressed with him. And I think that this year the hallway looks even better with this new re-theme and having all of the green lights and everything. So on the shelf here, you can see we have some of the same stuff stuff. Some of the hands and arms and legs and all of those different body parts that spirit sells. We have some weapons and all that good stuff, the skull, and we even have the head and the butcher knife. The head that we had used from the cabin theme last year I thought was appropriate for the shelf, and the deer skull that we used last year as well. But the new addition to this is not only do we have the brains and the hearts, but we also have them in jars that have some yellow liquid in the bottom of each of them to make it look like they're oozing and that they've been like stored in there. And I think that it looks really, really awesome. It definitely kind of turns it into more of a toxic kind of, almost like a lab sort of vibe going on with that, but still definitely fits in with the theme, brings it more into the green color kind of scheme that we've got going on. And I have the green LEDs here, which are blocked so that they don't leak into the hallway as much. But then also there's like literally only 2 LEDs showing on each one because they were way too bright with the whole strip. But this year I was able to get 2 instead of 1, so we are improving. Hopefully next year I could get 3 done, but I thought that the 2 were just fine, and it's a little bit hard. I don't have another connector for these LEDs, and they always give me a lot of trouble, so I got the 2, and I just wanted to leave it as is because I thought it looked good enough. Now, moving along through the hallway, there is all of the chains, which I thought was a really, really cool decoration. It looked a lot more bare before I added all of these. And some of the chains, I have like the ones that are holding the hand. I don't think I've seen these in Spirit this year, so they may not be selling them anymore, but I got these last year, and this is like the chain that has the hand connected to it with the little circle chain, and the bone and everything sticking out. So that is super creepy. So that's the first thing you hit when you turn this hallway right here. Then we also have the toxic waste barrels that you should have seen in a build video recently with the spray foam stuff that expands. That looks really cool, and we didn't end up painting it because I think that it looks even better without the paint, and kind of stands out a little bit more. You can see it a little bit better, and it just looks like foam on top of some toxic liquid. And then we have our biohazard signs on those, and I also stuck this zombie guy that usually like hangs up with the barbed wire. I stuck him in there because it actually kind of looks like he's a toxic waste zombie, just like our actual toxic waste zombie, that, or biohazard zombie, that is, or hazmat zombie is the name of that. But anyways, he looks like another kind of zombie guy that is sticking out of the toxic waste and has been zombified by the toxic waste. So I think that looks really cool. We also have our yellow light here, our spinning yellow light, which looks super cool in the dark. That also has a chain hanging on it, which is a good little detail there. And then we also have some more chains hanging down that you have to kind of push through. This one, I actually stuck a zip tie through the foot. It was a bit of a process, but I kind of DIY'd it. I like stuck it through using a little like screwdriver thing and pulled it through with a zip tie. And I have, you know, the foot here hanging from a chain, so it looks really cool because there's none that are actually like this with like a full-size latex foot or leg. So I went ahead and DIY'd that myself, and that looks really cool with a little bit of excess chain hanging over the edge here. And then another one of the chains that this time has a foot in it, so that one's there. And then here is our biohazard zombie, but he's not going to be on because it seemed like the one that I took out of the box was a return. There was a leftover one at my store, but it must have been a return because it did not have instructions in it, and the screws were in a package that looked like someone made it. It was like paper taped together that said screws on it. So it definitely was a return, but my store wouldn't have necessarily known that because you get stuff in that was left over from other stores. So it just was kind of left as full price, no indication that it was returned. But it really doesn't have anything that wrong with it. It still is fully functional, but the problem is that when you plug him in, he just continuously goes and goes and goes on any setting you have him in other than off. But of course, in off, he doesn't work at all. So I can't have him plugged in because he is static, so it's not that, you know, sad, or it's not that devastating that he isn't going to be plugged in and that he continuously goes. But the problem is that he just has this really loud, obnoxious noise that people really don't need to hear. And then also he lights up green, so it's like I figured I could just go ahead and take this green spotlight right here and shine that on him, because why not? It just does the exact same effect, and we don't need the noise in here because we're going to have a live actor. That's what's really going to add to the freakiness of this hallway. And then we have our zombie outbreak sign, which doesn't really make that much sense, but then what I realized is that it actually says area under quarantine. It has the biohazard sign, restricted area, authorized personnel only. So then it actually kind of ties this all together, because it kind of makes it seem like we have this toxic waste area that is turning people into zombies, because we have our hazmat zombie and we also have another zombie here. So it actually starts to make a little bit of sense unintentionally, so that's kind of cool. And the last thing that we have here as you walk out is just this other chain that you kind of have to push through, another little accent, and there will be the tarp here as you walk out. And that is it. That is the 2018 haunted house, finally completed and finally up on the channel for you guys. Actually, you will have already seen it in the edit. But I am just so happy with this year. You guys have made it a really special one. It has been such a fun one for me, and I think that it is probably the best one yet as far as our haunted house goes, and for Spirit Halloween too. I thought it was an amazing year for Spirit Halloween. Spirit Halloween had some crazy good animatronics this year. That's why I bought so many. But it has just been an awesome 2018 season. So I wish you all a happy Halloween, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of my 2018 haunted house in the comment section below, and be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.